Okay, let's talk about one of the most frustrating things in the world. That argument that just goes nowhere. You know the one. It feels like you're on a hamster wheel, just spinning and spinning. We're going to dive into the psychology of why some conversations feel absolutely impossible.
Right? You've had this feeling. You come in with all your facts, your logic is sound, but nothing. It's like your words just bounce right off. It's not even a discussion at that point, it's just a collision. So what is actually going on there?
Well, it turns out there are these really powerful, kind of hidden psychological forces at work behind the scenes. And today we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly what they are. Let's turn that confusion into some clarity.
Our first stop on this journey is something called the confidence trap. It's all about a famous cognitive bias known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. And this explains a lot about why someone can be so incredibly certain and yet so incredibly wrong.
So here's the deal with the Dunning-Kruger effect. In a nutshell, it means that the people who are the least competent at something are often the most confident. Why? Well, because the skills you need to be good at a task are the very same skills you need to recognize that you're not good at it. Without that self-awareness, you can walk around feeling like an expert when, you're really just starting out.
And this chart just shows it perfectly. Look at that gap. The perceived expertise is way up here, while the actual expertise is way down there. That canyon in the middle, that's the Dunning-Kruger effect. And it's not about being smart or dumb, it's about this mismatch between how we see ourselves and what the reality is. It makes it almost impossible for new, challenging information to get in.
This quote just nails that feeling, doesn't it? But what happens when it's not just about overconfidence? What if the mind itself is just closed for business? And that leads us right to the next piece of the puzzle, the mental brick wall itself. In psychology, this has a name. It's called cognitive rigidity. So, if the Dunning-Kruger effect is about not knowing what you don't know, cognitive rigidity is about being unwilling or unable to change your mind, even when new facts come along. It's like a mental inflexibility. The person just clings to what they first believed, which, as you can imagine, makes a real debate pretty much impossible. Okay, so we've got overconfidence and we've got mental inflexibility. Now let's add the most explosive ingredient of all, emotion. Because when someone is already caught in those first two traps, a simple disagreement can feel like a full-blown personal attack. And this slide shows the total disconnect. On your side, you think, hey, we're just having a debate about ideas. But on their side, they're feeling this is a personal attack on me, my intelligence, my values. And once that happens, the goal isn't to find the truth anymore, the goal is to defend themselves.
All right, so we've laid out the problem pretty clearly. The confidence trap, the mental brick wall, the feeling of being attacked. It sounds hopeless, right? But it's not. There is an antidote. There's a key that can unlock these impossible arguments, and it's a trait called intellectual humility.
It sounds so simple, but it is so profound. Intellectual humility is just being able to recognize that your beliefs, your opinions, they could be wrong. It's the ability to entertain the tiny possibility that you don't have all the answers. It's the exact opposite of that cognitive rigidity we were talking about.
So, what does this actually look like? Well, people with intellectual humility care more about what's true than about the feeling of being right. They're able to separate their ego from their ideas, which is huge. That means when someone challenges their idea, it doesn't feel like a challenge to them as a person. They actually go looking for different points of view. And, get this, they're okay with saying, you know what, I don't know. So, we have the key, right? Intellectual humility. But here's the big question. What if the other person doesn't have it? What do you do then? And that brings us to maybe the most important takeaway of all. Sometimes, the smartest thing you can do is just walk away.
This is a really crucial shift in thinking. When you realize you're up against that brick wall, that combination of overconfidence and rigidity, the goal has to change. It's no longer about trying to win or convince them.
Because real wisdom isn't about winning every single fight. It's about knowing which fights are unwinnable from the start. It's about choosing to protect your own peace and save your energy for conversations that can actually go somewhere.
And that's really the question I want to leave you with. Now that you can spot the signs of an impossible argument, you have the power. You can choose. So which conversations are you going to invest in, and which ones will you decide just aren't worth your energy? That choice is all yours.